Alright, so the fuel pump came with a little pigtail on the pump side, and it came with one of these. I think these are probably pretty universal in these little Chinese fuel pumps, so I'm going to go and use it in case it goes bad. I can just disconnect the standard plug the other one right in, and be back going. So I'm just going to use some butt crimps on these, or butt splices. And I grabbed a pair of these fancy crimper pliers I've never used before. They're like ratcheting. And I don't know if it was worth the money or not. There's like $12 or something. But it's definitely makes a really, really nice crimp. It's like perfect torque and everything. And really, really strong, and it's easier on the hand than the standard old school ones I've used forever. So that was probably worth the $10 or $12 investment. Alright, so let's look at some of the fuel stuff. So I got the fuel pump mounted here. This guy here actually has 5/16 fittings on it. And the original hose is super duper tiny. So I'm going to got some Allen wrenches out here. My guess is it's probably about a 4mm. So I'm just going to see. Yeah, 4mm like fits perfect inside there. So it's a 4mm fuel hose. Found a piece of scrap 6mm. Okay, the same thing. Just put the Allen wrench into it, and you can tell how it fits a little snug. So that's the 6mm Allen. So that may work. And then I know 1/4 inch is probably going to be too big, so I'm going to have to take it off the carburetor, I guess, from that end and see, because I don't know where I'm going to find, this teeny tiny, like 4mm, and then convert it over to 5/16. But the other thing I need to make sure is I want to see what the actual output is of this guy to see if I need to use a inline regulator. So this was gravity fed. It should be about 1 to 2 psi for atmosphere. So if this thing puts out, it's supposed to be a low pressure one to do that, but let's hook up a pressure gauge and get some gas out and see what it actually cranks out, so we'll know if we need to use a regulator or not, and then they'll help tell us how we can adapt the fuel hose. Alright, so I got it rigged up to the fuel pump here. So I'm going to kick the pump on, and then I got to put it in some gas here. It's got the pressure build back down, I think. So it looks like it's got an internal regulator, so it's shutting off and on. But that right there is like 6 psi, which is going to be way too much. So it's pumping air, now it's sucking in some gas. So I think that it's running around so much for low pressure, right? I mean, that's running about 7.5 psi, and that definitely flood out the carburetor then. So shut her off. And then pressure bleed down, and then we'll definitely have to use my little inline regulator, looks like, to lower the pressure down, because 7 psi is a bit excessive for this. Alright, so I put that little regulator in line. Let's see what we get. Not quite 1 psi at the 1 setting. So in these things, you just turn the dial to the number you want. So right there is 1.5. There's 2. Should be able to let it increase. May have to bleed the pressure back off for it to reset, but it definitely stopped it at the right time. So using this little gizmo here, our fuel pressure will be good. So I'm going to have to keep it in line for sure.